former presidents of STC India. I welcome him on stage for the first spotlight session on managing contract resources.
Well, indeed, it is a spotlight. So the spot is on me. The reason, a very good afternoon to everyone out here. I hope you had a very good lunch. The reason for selecting this topic was primarily because I have actually presented this topic in a recent conference that we had. And doing this topic or presenting a topic on this was the idea behind that was because I met a lot of people out here, participants out here, and most of them have been working or they have come back to me talking about contract resources and what are the pain points. And I thought maybe since we are all discussing from the last 2 days, augmented reality, chatbots, machine learning, AI, I think when we go back this weekend, all we will talk about AI and machine learning and all that sort of a thing. So I thought, let me talk about something that is current, that is relevant and all that. So my name is Rajdeep Gupta, and I have been in tech writing industry for nearly 10 plus. I have been a trainer, writer, manager. I've also got a setup of my own, and I do training, consulting, and IT talent management services. Now let's have, though the numbers are very few, let's have a quick hand of any one of you who is currently working as a contract writer or have actually in the past worked as a contractual resource. Anyone? 1, 2, 3, 4. So a couple of them, right? And do you have any vendors out here, like people who hire contract resources? Like, I know Ravi's company used to do that earlier, but Ravi's not doing it. Anyway, so I consider me as to be one of the vendor. So since it's 15 minutes, and I'll keep it very quick, short and simple, as well as our post-lunch, but we'll keep it this thing. So I'll just concentrate. There's no PPT and nothing for me, so I'll just concentrate on thing. What do I mean by contractual resources? What do I mean by that? And how do you differentiate between a full-time resource and all that? And you also have to understand that why we even consider contractual resources. So as a vendor, what I have understood is also as a manager, there are projects that we work on. Now in the projects that we work on, many times we have a scarcity of talent or scarcity of tools specialist. I'll give you one example. Working in Infosys, and we want to do a doc migration, and we want to move it to, say, the content management system. At that point of a time, we don't have a specialized sort of a thing. But this is going to be a 3 months kind of a project. That's what it's built. Now, if you want to hire a full-time resource personnel, a lot of time would go for you to identify. First of all, identify this, get it. And it's a long and painful process, which is why one of the reasons people actually seek references. And so what happens is that the first thing is the identifying the talent and all that. So you can have a specialized resource deployed at your location for that particular duration, do the work and leave. Second reason for that is accountability. Now, I'll tell you, I have got my clients, close to 50 plus that we have clients. Now, most of the clients, and I have got my students who are now tech writers working on, one of which is video recording it also. So now they are actually going and working on full-time employees. Now, most of the time, the resources would come to me, or the companies would come to me and say that, Rajdeep, I don't want to get into this problem of hiring a person, going through the entire process, only realizing that it was not the skill set that I wanted to hire. Or, Rajdeep, the problem is they quit the organization. Now remember, quitting is something that no one can stop. Even if Brahma comes today, I'm saying this, he cannot also stop. Anybody can leave at any point of a time. Reason is uncertain. I have seen one resource joining an organization, quitting on the very next day. It has happened. And then there are resources who have been working for the last 6 years or 10 years and they don't want to leave the organization. Now, as a Blue Dots Consultancy Services, I take my company name, I can have the flexibility of picking up that resource or deploying that resource, and we do it for many organizations. We deploy the resource. That resource, and minimum I go for let's say a year long, or for some clients, because I'm building up my company, I say 6 months is also fine. Now what happens is that they can ascertain the capabilities of this resource. What you call in other companies, this thing of, what do you call that term of assessing that? You have a term for that, where you say that for first 6 months, we'll see if the company, and then only we'll make him full-time. So this thing can be sorted out by a contractual resource. And last but not the least, obviously, there are a lot of financial things that you have to pick up. You have to talk about medicals, insurances, the number of papers that you have done, gratuity and all that. Many times, the finance team actually do not want to get into this thing because they had some bad experiences. So they said, okay, can we actually do something like that where the vendor takes care of it? We probably can do it in a little later. So this 3-4 resources, this 3-4 criteria is here where contractors are actually favored or people want to. Now you have a contractor resource. Now whom do I hire and why? What are the pain points of contractors? When I decided yesterday evening that I wanted to speak on, I spoke to quite a few people, and then I asked some of them what was it. One of the things that come out is, and I remember interviewing a lady who is close to 9+ years of experience, and I was talking to her and I said, and she said the first thing she said, and she in previous 2 projects, I think in HPE or something, she has worked as a contractor. So she says this, is this a contract position? Will I be on a vendor? And since I come from that background, I decided that, okay, fine. I said, why do you ask me this question? So she said, though there are, they treat us well, but I still believe that I don't get that kind of respect that I want to get. So respect was the main important criteria here. So I said, respect. So somewhere down the line, they felt that they are part of a team, but it is like that kind of, you still are a part of a member. You go to someone's place, someone's house, you cannot just go and say that, can I just sleep or something like that. So that is one. Second thing is the benefits that you are talking about. Benefits in a sense, the medical allowances, the kind of benefits. I remember working in an organization where there were some team lunch or some sort of a party, and the contractors were not going. I was a full-time employee. So I just, suddenly I felt like I went off to this thing, and then I asked one another, and I said, why are they not there? And they said, the reason, because they are contractors. So I felt a little odd about it. I felt a little bad about it because I was like, okay, but that does not stop them from actually, getting together as a party and all that sort of a thing. Many a times it has happened, and it looks really odd for them. When I was as a contractor, I worked in, I visited Middle East, I've worked in Australia, New Zealand, United States, I have also done there. There are contractors which in a company, you can understand that if you're working for, let's say, take for example, Qatar National Bank. So we had contractors from HCL, from Infosys, from Accenture, all of them are working together. But there are certain benefits that we do not get, which a full-fledged employee will get. And most importantly, what I felt the pain point is that, see, you come from a vendor. Now, I would take the liberty of saying, and I'm very proud to say that I am from Blue Dots Consultancy Services. We are a talent management firm. We are doing all this thing. But my background is in technical writing. So that means what? Unlike other consultancies, when you call them up, the HRs do not know what tech writers do. They do not know what, so they end up doing a bad job. Now, when someone talks to me, I can relate that. So I have to relay this thing to the company and say, look, I know what are the kind of, so some of the stuff that I do is that when I talk to the HR, I said, okay, listen, I want to do a good hiring job. Tell me what is the package that you are going to offer? How many rounds you are going to offer? So she asked me later on, why are you asking so many questions? I said, because I don't want to waste both of your time. You want a contract resource? Tell me that contract resource you want. Is there a chance for him to be a contract to hire kind of a role? Tell me all this. And I try to be as frank as possible. Another thing these contractors tell me is that the vendor, they never call them up. They never have a meeting. All they do is a salary credit kind of a thing. And the salary also does not happen on time. I'll tell you on this thing, because I have worked directly with companies as a vendor, plus I have worked with a third party, where the third party would get the invoice from me on the 1st of month, but they will only pay me 30th of that month. You getting my point? But I cannot have my contractor wait for that. When I'm starting, like 3 years now, when I started off, it was very difficult because, you start off your company as a whole. So all the problem in this thing is that you have to pay it from your own pocket. So I pay my contractor on the 30th or 1st of every working month. So what happens at the end of the day, you are probably thinking it considering from that point of view, you're saying that, okay, fine, whatever might happen at that point of time, we are going to get salaries on time. So these are the 3 challenges that I have. Now, how do I manage my resources? So over the last 3 years, coming back from, I was working in New Zealand. I came back to India. I moved from tech writing to sales and all that sort of a thing. And when I started up, so right now, I have got 15 contract resources deployed at various client locations. And all of them are serving maybe 1 or 6 months kind of a, contract resources. And most of the time, they become full deployed. And then I have permanent resources which are deployed. Now, what do I do? How do I manage? The first and foremost thing is accountability. Yeah, the accountability is very important in a sense that it makes a job easier for me because I have been a tech writer. It becomes easier for me because I attend conferences, and thank goodness I was not a, this year I could attend a lot of sessions because generally for conferences I'm a part of the voluntary task or doesn't. So then what happens is that I go back and I update them on the kind of information that I learned. So first and foremost, accountability. And you need to tell them that you are a resource with Blue Dots, take pride in that, but you should know that I will try, and I will try to actually see that you become a full-time resource soon. I have got people who have directly told me that, Rajdeep, I will continue to be a Blue Dots resource for a period of time because we got to work on a banking project today. Then after 6 months later, I can work on a let's say healthcare related projects. The kind of flexibility that you can, and consultants also get paid a lot. For example, since yesterday to today, I have got 4 requirements wherein I have to fill up requirements like that. And most of the time, these guys that I was talking about, they write. So I asked them basically, I was sitting across with someone and I said, what is it exactly that you're looking out for? And they said, all I need is hard-code writer. So it allows me to go back to the table and say, do I have the talent that and if they said, if they're doing a good job, if they're not doing a good job, it is the responsibility of a vendor to see that you need to give them proper training. So I think there has to be a shift in the kind of contract vendor kind of a relationship when you cannot just tell the resource that you're going to be deployed at that location. You're going to keep on working and I'm going to credit your salary. See, in the United States or in Asia Pacific, that you are in Singapore for that matter, you will have a 30+ year experienced lady working as a contract technical writer. It is only in India that we are so bothered about designation. You have a senior technical writer, a lead technical writer. Very good, fancy terms and all that sort of a thing. But at the end of the day, if you take it from this thing, so what you need to do is that you also, at the same point of a time, I also do one thing, which is I have at least 1 monthly call. And since we have a WhatsApp group, so what we do is that there is a very good opportunity for me to be flexible and open about with all the kinds of people that I deal with. So my participants are open about, so I'm attending a session here. A couple of my resources are also attending the conference. A couple of my students also get an opportunity to attend. And so they learn about it and this thing. Third thing is important is the salary part. Consultants, what I basically have found out is that, see, salary is a very, very important factor, and we will have a salary survey towards the later part of the evening. You will get to know, most of the time I basically, I know that people don't quit organization for salary, but their salary is a very important factor. As a contractor, will I pay X plus amount to a full-time employee? The answer is yes. I'll give you an example. I need a resource to do a migration of unstructured content to a data-based, I guess it's a FrameMaker or some kind of a thing. Now to get that kind of a person for the 6 months, what will I give? And then they also need solid authoring experience and 6+ years of experience. The kind of benefits and the kind of I will give. If I'm, let's say, if I would have been paying someone with that kind of experience 9 lakh CTC, probably I'll give him close to 14 lakh CTC. You will always have to give consultant a little bit of money. Otherwise, I'll tell you what will happen. They will start off the project, and in the middle of the project, they will leave. All right? That's very, very important. Another thing for best practice of this thing, I try to ensure that they can attend certain learning events or sessions, and I'm open about to sponsor them. Make them feel that even if they are consultant, they need to be a part of the family. That is very important. And the opportunity in technical writing, I did a little bit of some sort of a digging before I actually decided to speak and this thing. So in Bangalore at this moment of time, just in technical writing, because I do IT staffing for all the engineering roles, be it a developer, technical architect, just for technical writers, there are 100 plus technical writing resources which are open positions which are available. Someone once for 6 months, I just spoke to a Pune-based client and he says, 12 months, I want them to be deployed at my location. I want them to know simplified technical English, and I want this thing. And I always ask them, is there an opportunity for you to even consider going full-time? He said, ye jhanjat nahi lene ka hai. You know, it's very, very easy for us. Let's just take it for them, get the job done, and this thing. Another thing for people who work independently as a consultant, see, the moot point is that you need good writers. And you may get writers, but you may not get writers with maybe there is a deficit in skill. Probably someone knows Oxygen XML, may not know XMetal. Someone knows Arbortext from Epic Editor, someone may not. It is very important for you to get the right skill set and train them if it required. Okay, that is very important. Another thing is that I have noticed in the hiring thing is that often at times we interview people and then they came out is that what happens is the HR does not tell me and later on the HR will come back and say, oh, but we don't have the budget, Rajdeep. We are not able to do. So it is very important for you to give them an idea. Just don't tell them that, okay, finish the contract, your budget will increase and all that sort of a thing. That's another point of view and all that. Any other point that you want to actually highlight? For example, you have worked as a contract resource. You want to highlight something?
We are hiring contract resources. I have figured out one thing. You rightly said that specifically with our country, people are more open towards the full-time employment with the organization. So that is a hard fact. In my experience, I found with the contract employee, there is also a problem with the attitude that comes between. Means I don't know why it is the reason. In terms of the sincerity towards the work, it might be something related with the opportunity to contract to higher position kind of a stuff or something like that. But it has created something that creates a kind of obstacle in terms of the execution. You don't find the commitment the way we have seen with the full-time employment. So that is one point that I would like to highlight.
I don't have much. So in conclusion, just I want to say this thing is that for an organization like mine, probably what I would be doing is that I'm working with my accountant to actually come with Provident Fund. I'm talking about if I can come with medical benefits and all that sort of a thing. This, it allows me to actually bid for projects or bid for, roles that I probably will not get earlier. So it helps. I also see that, just like people talk about technical writers, what is the future of technical communication? What I believe is that you may not have a designation like tech writer. You may have something called user experience. And you sum up everything together because you're talking about chatbots and all this kind of crazy stuff. So you talk about writing, design, coding together and this thing. I believe more number of consultants you will have, more number of contractors will have, and I think contractors are going to be there. So in this way, I just want to end. It was a short talk, and I hope there was some learning in it. Thank you.
I have a question. Can I answer? Yeah, actually, see, even at a senior level, we are like contractor for contract positions and all. Sometimes companies say, like, you'll be hired for 6 months or 11 months, and then you will be made permanent based on your performance. So at a senior, as juniors, okay, you are ready to go because you have to begin your career. As a senior level, I know the project is good company, but I'm going on contract. So, like, up to what extent can I negotiate my salary? I know that's the financial point of view, but what is the profit margin that a consultancy gets, and to what level can I negotiate my salary and to get more? You obviously want more money. So
well, so I'll say it from my only consultancy. Listen, if I'm placing someone on as a contract resource and if there is no profit for me, I'd rather not. It's a good investment for me if I deploy a resource. Profit margin you're talking about, I will think, let's say if I put a resource in 5 lakh CTC, okay, then I'm expecting at least 6.5 to 7. That is
the company has set 6.5 to 7.
6.5 to 7 that I'm bidding.
Okay, but
yeah, for at the end of the day, but the resource will be getting this thing. As the number of years, but for senior resource, I'll tell you one thing, because you might not only think about making a profit, sometimes it also believes the volume.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
If I have a company where I have to place 12 resources, I might rather think about actually getting down the profit. But if it's just a one resource or something, I'll think about that. Okay. But as for negotiation thing, if you know that you are the best man for the job, I think you should go for it. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience on?
In the contract job, do you provide your employee health benefits, PF, compensation, and what other things which an permanent employee is getting? So when I was a contract employee, I was not getting all these things, and I got just married. So it was very difficult for me if suppose my wife or I got hospitalized, what to do. So I thought that I should search for a permanent job. So that set of a mindset, do you take care of all these things for employees for so that he stays longer with you?
Yeah, I mean, the best answer is yes, we need to. But as I said that I am growing, right? So along with it, all these medical benefits that you're talking, medical benefits, provident fund, and all these things comes into play. Yes, and you're right, actually, because and he made a very interesting comment. As a junior resource, probably 5 years in, but once you get married and you have a family, all these things need to be considered. It makes the business proposition very easy, and not easy. It makes a good business proposition if I'm going to a resource client and I'm saying that, okay, I want to actually have a 20 resources to win, and this is what the benefits. Because there are some contracts where the organization, when the clients actually directly tell me that, you know, Rajdeep, I will take, but you ensure that you provide all these benefits to the contract resources also. So yeah, those are taken care also. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rajdeep, for the wonderful presentation on contract to hire role.